In this episode, I'm talking about the fourth C in the 5-part series I kicked off earlier this year called The 5 C's of a Creating Maven, which is all about the characteristics you need so that you can make your unique contribution and get paid to be you. Today is all about courage. What does it look like? And what is one of the greatest gifts it has to offer? Hey, Creating Maven. I'm Joy Spencer, your reframe specialist, with one important message. Your real work, it's not your job or your career. Your real work is what you create. And what you create is what sets you apart and makes you incomparable. It's your legacy. I'm here to show you a whole new way of working so you can create with your gifts, make a unique contribution, and finally get paid to be yourself. This is Reframe to Create. I finally know what courage is. Courage is approaching your vanishing point. I'll explain. Before we get to that, I want to give you a warm and very personal welcome if this is your first time here at Reframe to Create. Hi, welcome. I'm not just saying hi on my behalf, but on behalf of all the other Creating Mavens who listen diligently to this podcast and have been on this journey from day one. We are so happy to have you here. And if they could talk to you directly, I know they'd be excited to catch you up on what we've been doing here for almost a year now. Here at Reframe to Create, we're on a journey that started way back when in episode 1. A journey for professionals who the sound of being paid to be themselves is, so delicious and next level appealing because you're tired of feeling unexpressed and powerless in your job. You want to feel purposeful and powerful. You want to know you're leaving a legacy you're proud of. As I shared in episodes 1 and 2, the dream job is dead, but you don't need it because you've got something better. And that better thing is what this podcast is all about. Creating. Your ability to create. Your creating power. That's your superpower. That's my superpower. It's also the superpower of everyone else around you. And it's ours, regardless of the job or career we're in or not. Creating is the key to getting paid to be you because the things and experiences you create are what you can use to open doors and opportunities that are the right fit for you. The journey to this is simply and clearly laid out in my 6-step Create framework, which is our roadmap, which you can download for free at reframetocreate.com. But while this journey is simple, there are still twists and turns, and often the seeming roadblocks are really just hang-ups that are living inside of us. That's why I'm here as your reframe specialist to help you get unstuck, to help you get a new frame, a reframe, which is a new perspective, a new way of seeing yourself so that you can do this. That's why I call you a Creating Maven, because identity is the starting point of everything. And if you're the thing, you'll do the thing that the people who are the thing do. A maven is an expert, a connoisseur. So a creating maven is someone who is an expert at creating consistently, and that's the identity you need to embrace and live out of if you're going to be paid to be you. This episode is part 4 of a 5-part series about the characteristics of that creating maven, your characteristics. In episode 25, we talked about the first characteristic, commitment. Episode 26 was the second, not comparing yourself to others. 27 was the third, what it takes to have authentic confidence and banish insecurity from your life. And today is the 4th, and it's all about courage. Done. I'm done. I'm 100% done with this. That was the feeling I had, and those were the words that were running through my head when I decided to quit my job all those years ago. And recently, that done feeling has begun to creep up on me again. I'm done with a lot of things. I'm done with familiar patterns. I'm done with familiar ways of thinking and being and doing. These are the patterns that got me here. And I appreciate them, really, I do, but I'm ready for the new. Have you been there? I'm sure you have. So what do you do when you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're done, but you're still not all that clear as to what you want to start instead. What do you do then? For me, I listen. I listen real close to that feeling because I know it never lies. During times like these, I share where I am and what I'm feeling with trusted friends. And the other day, I did just that. And I was sharing this with my friend Shella. And what I was saying to her was that I've been here before. I've been in this place where I know what I don't want and that I'm ready to leave it behind, but I'm not so sure at all yet where I'm going instead or what I'll find when I get there. And I've been in this place before, but this time I'm not scared. And when I said that, that's when my friend Shella said, "It's your vanishing point." Wait, what's that? I've never heard that. I'd never heard of that. So I looked it up and she told me about it. And a vanishing point is an important concept in perspective drawing, and artists use it to create depth and realism in their drawings. And so by definition, and I quote, "A vanishing point refers to the point at which parallel lines appear to converge as they recede into the distance. It's a point beyond which an existing vision, whether it's a human eye or the camera, cannot see." So it is termed the vanishing point, convergence point, or point of convergence, right? The point is, it's the point beyond which the human eye can't see. It's like when you look at these paintings. So if you're looking at a painting that's of a road that's going off into the distance, like, you know, like that, I think it's that Robert Frost poem where like two roads diverged in the forest or something, and then like one path like goes like way down and you can't see it. That point where it's sort of like you get that illusion that you can't see beyond it, that's the vanishing point. And it's based on really one thing and one thing only, where you're standing right now. Because if you move closer, if you move towards it, if you move towards and start approaching the vanishing point, you'll start to see more and more of the path than you did before when you started walking. And I know this all too well in my life. I know this because on the day that I packed up my entire life into a U-Haul van to move from Maryland to New York to attend graduate school, I remember that day I had only $40 in my bank account. And as I pulled out of the parking lot and headed for I-95 North, I distinctly remember saying, "God, I'm jumping, catch me." And as I passed through toll after toll, I saw my non-existent cash reserves continue to dip. And I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. I was approaching my vanishing point. And the same when I quit my job without having another one lined up, because I knew it was the only way I was going to stop circling the same drain over and over and over again. And despite being invited to do projects that were familiar and in which I was very competent, like starting a new nonprofit or just taking another job in the same field, I said no. And I kept saying no. I kept saying no to what I knew, to what I was known for, to what I was familiar with. And people kept asking, well, if you're not going to do this thing, like, what are you going to do? What do you want to do? And I kept saying, I don't know, just not that. And I remember describing the feeling to my friend Adetoye in a coffee shop. And I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Those two feelings were so true in my heart. This was another moment of me approaching my vanishing point. And when in the story I shared in episode 14 about the time I walked into a classroom in Bosnia to teach English, the day after I realized I might get stared at and gawked at by the whole town for the entire summer for being the only Black person that they'd ever seen in their entire life. In that moment, also, I was approaching my vanishing point. And every time that I get on a plane, oh wait, I haven't told you about the fact that I have a fear of flying. Okay, that's a story for another day. But for me, every time I get on a plane, I don't know about anybody else on that flight but me, I am approaching my vanishing point. But seriously, you have similar stories like this, I'm sure. Moments when you were doing this same thing as well, walking towards the unknown with nothing but a certainty that what you were leaving behind needed to be done and dusted. How did it make you feel? Apprehensive, excited, downright terrified? Whatever you felt, you came through on the other side and met life, same as had been on the front side. You can probably think of many times when you exercised courage and approached your vanishing point and found it had many gifts. One of the most important gifts of exercising courage, of this act of approaching your vanishing point, is that it usually means that you're doing that. You're taking action. And the gift of taking that action is clarity. Action leads to clarity, not the other way around. This is the ultimate gift of courage. Clarity. And we all appreciate a little clarity at the end of a murky and unclear journey, don't we? So what does this mean for you? How is this idea of courage being the act of approaching your vanishing point supposed to help you? What I'm hoping is that it lets you know that you don't have to know clearly what you want. You don't have to have a 5-year plan all mapped out. A 10-point plan is not a prerequisite for being a creating maven. All you need is to be done with your status quo. All you need is a vague, no matter how vague, a vague hope that things can be different and a desire that it be different for you. All you need is to have the same sense that I had all those years ago and that I'm even feeling a little bit more of again today. That sense that I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Now I want you to take a moment and remember. I want you to think back to a specific moment in your life when you were doing this, because I know you've done this before. Think about a moment when you were approaching your vanishing point. Take a moment to pull that memory up. You can close your eyes if you want to. Remember the moment. Remember where you were. Remember what time of life it was. Remember who else was around during those times. And focus in on the moment. And remember. How did it feel to approach the unknown? Then I want you to think. How did it feel at the other end when you reached what had originally been your vanishing point? Not so scary, huh? I want you to remember this because past stories of how we have overcome and moved through things we at one time thought were dark, scary, or insurmountable can be fuel to support us in the future. You've got this. I know you've got this. I know you can approach your vanishing point because I know you've done it before. So this is what courage looks like for you as a creating maven. It's taking another step forward. It's you leaning in. It's you being willing to want different from everyone else. It's you being willing to ask for what you want. It's realizing, as the quote says, that sometimes we need to be brave enough to outgrow the life we built. And the gift that you'll get from taking action to walk towards your vanishing point will be this. So much clarity, so much power, so much sense of purpose, and so much creating. So the fable of the tortoise and the hare is the gift that keeps on giving. So you know, I got to go back to it again. And I've been talking about it from the beginning of this 5-part series because it's just so good and full of so much yummy nuggets of wisdom. So in the story, the tortoise not only had the confidence to get into the race with the hare in the first place, but he walked steadily towards his vanishing point. That was him exercising courage. I'm pretty sure he couldn't see the end from the beginning, and I'm pretty sure this was the case for a pretty long time as he slogged it through. But he knew it was there. He just kept walking, and with each step, what he couldn't see earlier became clearer and clearer until he saw and made it to the finish line. Like the tortoise, you don't have to know it all. All you have to do to flex this muscle of courage is to take one step in moving away from what is not working now and move towards something. Dare to approach your vanishing point. The next step will become clear after you've taken this one. Commitment. no comparison, confidence, courage, and curiosity. The fifth and final C of a Creating Maven is what I'll talk to you about in the next episode. Are you enjoying this series? If so, then please write a review for Reframe to Create on Apple Podcast and share what you're loving about it and getting out of it. You know what it's like when you're looking for a new podcast. You want to know that other people like you think it's good. So let the folks out there know that Reframe to Create is the place to be. See you soon, Creating Maven. Until then, remember to always ask yourself, what will I create?